Welcome to Key Roots, the Key Roots of Sex Addiction. My name is Colin. And some people may wonder how I can tell whether or not a woman is done with her partner's infidelity. And the answer to that is not very complex. It's just that a woman fails to set firm boundaries. You see, a guy doesn't have a last chance until his partner says it's his last chance and she means it. And when she does, it's that moment that's the last straw, her last straw with his infidelity. If you're a partner of a sexaholic, you've not just had your heart crushed, you've been thrashed about until you shattered, and when you allow that to happen over and over and over again, you start to believe that you're the crazy person because you're staying with a man that's unfaithful to you. And you probably never thought that you would ever do such a thing. And I want you to know that you're not crazy. You're not even naive to the situation. The real the real answer is that you're bonded to this really sick guy who has really severe illness, severe illness, which is sex addiction. And when your bond is threatened, it's a really difficult thing to deal with. Because when you think of the outcomes of separation, it's really scary. So most women in this situation kind of hem and haw around, their husband's or their partner's sex addiction. They beat around the bush. And as that happens, well, the chaos in the relationship continues, probably longer than it needs to. Okay? So it becomes really important to set your boundaries. A sexaholic is not going to just jump into recovery when he's ready. He's going to get into recovery when you become firm and set your boundaries, when you stop accepting sexaholism in your relationship, when you require deep recovery from your partner. Setting these boundaries, it is not a punishment. It is a pathway forward because sex addiction is a real physical and mental illness. The body becomes conditioned with pleasure seeking. The mind becomes delusional. It starts to justify lies. It starts to rationalize poor behavior, and it diminishes or minimizes the damage. And so if your partner, when you set boundaries, tells you that he doesn't need to get into recovery, don't believe him. If he tells you that he doesn't need groups or people, then don't believe him. Not because he's a bad person, not even because he's a liar, which he is, but because sexaholism does not get better in isolation. Your partner needs help. He needs guys like a recovery tribe who have gone through this before, who are not going to be shocked by your partner's stories, and who can guide him out of addiction. Guys that will hold him accountable in love and truth. Okay? And that's what Key Roots does. We meet 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 5:30 to 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. And these groups are not just like sit back and listen type groups. These groups are action focused, they are interactive, and they're no BS support groups that are led by someone with real life experience, with professional experience. And so your partner does not need to be perfect. He doesn't even need to want to come. He just needs to be willing to come. So if you're wondering if the next time that your partner relapses is going to be his last chance, I want you to ask yourself this question. Will I make this last relapse his last chance? Because when you do, that will be his last straw. And that will be when he gets into recovery. And when that happens, we'll be here to help him heal, and help you obtain the relationship that you've always deserved.